how do you go about implementing marketing automation in your business to streamline, to help you help your team and help the company grow? It helps. One of the things that you can use for selecting how you want your customer engage with you, your brand, and your business. You all know from marketing perspective, customers really get engaged once they get to know your brand, understand your brand, and know what you do. And with nowadays, customer is not waiting for an email anymore. Statistics show like 98% of all text messages are open and responded within 3 minutes. They are delivered to someone's phone. And in the US itself, consumers are 5 times more likely to send and receive text message than the phone call. If you read that again, 98% of text messages are open and respond within 3 minutes. Which means when someone gives you their phone number, especially from a business setting perspective, of course there are laws and rules that you have to follow, but there's a good chance if you text those people, you're gonna get a faster answer if you were to email them. You can automate a lot of that process along the way. One of it is following up very quickly. So, how do you ensure you follow up very quickly when it comes to leads that coming in, customer requests that coming in, or that engagement you have on your social media, whatever the platform might be? If you are part of that automation army of process that you create, you can solve that problem very quickly simply by following up to the leads within 15 minutes after you get the leads. Really increase your chance of converting those potential customers. So here's why it's so important. So leads that not follow up within 15 minutes go cold. Again, depending on the business you are in, but imagine you are a boat dealer, for example. Again, buying a boat is a longer process, obviously, you guys know, but a lot of time that intuitiveness the client have the thinking to request a quote from you, learn about that boat. The faster someone get to that person, the more interested they stay. So within 15 minutes, research shows that a lead that did not get follow up on that within that 15 minutes they go cold. And the follow up within 5 minutes are 20% 21% more likely to stay on board. And after 5 minutes, the odds of qualifying drop by almost 80%, as you can see on the matrix here. So this is why it's so critical to automate that process so that from the second someone make a request on your website or give you a phone call, that follow-up process should be in place. And this is where automation can become your best friend and become a king for you. How do you go about leveraging automation? The ideal outcome for automation is to deliver immediate response to leads, immediate response to a potential customer, immediate response to a potential partner, depending on what you achieve, what you want to achieve at that point, whether it's through email, SMS, and potentially other means of communication. So all of that to ensure you get to the right person at the right time when they reach you. The ideal outcome here is every leads that you're as a marketer, every leads that coming in, your sales team might be lacking, but because of your automation is very well defined and built, you make sure every leads is follow up and follow through within 30 seconds of submission and possibly a phone call from the company within 15 minutes and business hours. Obviously, sometimes it might take longer than that, but imagine you send an email to someone, request for specific things, and then 2 days later, that's when you heard from them. What if you were able to send an email automatically, and that email doesn't have to be super complicated? Someone make a request, for example, hey, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. Can you get back to me? You can actually automate the first message, say, hey, Johnny, thank you so much for reaching out. We get your email. Someone from our team will reach out to you. And you can even tell them, hey, just so you know, this message is automated to confirm that we get your message. And people like that. People appreciate that. And now they know you already received their email and you already promised them someone will reach out to them. This is why it's so important to make sure you have that system in place to ensure your leads or follow up, they don't go cold, they don't get dry. And then once on every leads that get follow up, you can actually create an actual sequence or drip campaign to those leads to ensure that the follow through get done by your own team internally as well. Knowing that most businesses they usually have at least 2 or 3 salespeople, you want to make sure those people are on top of those incoming leads. And again, depending on how you implement lead in your business, you have you can have round robins, or you have someone that assign those leads individually one by one. All that all that process can be automated, but if it is not, but make sure you have the supporting system in place to ensure those leads get follow up. But how do you go about making sure all those processes, all those systems are in place to ensure you have all the automation in place for so that you can see the result that you are getting? And this is where a lead management system come to place. Different companies have different name for this. Some company call them the CRM, customer relationship management. Some company call them the sales management system. So it's all depend. But whatever you call it, personally, I like to call it lead management system because it's easier that way. We know this system does one thing only. It manages and it's implement. It help leads coming in, and it's easier from a marketing perspective. I can go in, I know this month we receive 20 leads and only 2 of them convert, or only 5 of them convert, or 2 of them, whatever that number is. Step two, how do you go about implement a marketing automation system for your company? The first thing you want to do is identify the key touch points that you want to do. And my suggestion is always start small and then you build from there. And we're going to show you in a live example what that looks like. And you can slowly build up from where you start. But it is critical to sit down, think of the key touch point of when the customer coming in, where they're coming from, how do we even, let's step back even further than when the customer coming in, but how do we start build awareness about our branding? How do we get them to engage with us? And once they get engaged, they become interested in learning more, which means that's the education piece. And how do we get them to become aware of us and interested in our services? Now, obviously, all those key points that you will be creating during the journey, then you have to choose the right automation software tools for your business need. There are too many to list out there. As you guys know, there are like the big giants out there, from Salesforce to Pardot to HubSpot, you name it. There are too many just to name. And those are not just the only tools out there. There are tools that just not even part of the sales process or marketing process that still be able to create a fairly good automation system for you. Again, it's all depend on your needs, and even the old Google Excels can create those automation, especially with the way Google implement that in Zapier. So making sure you develop the flow of the messaging so that those messages and content that goes out, whether it's going to social media, to your website, to different other newsletters, from the text messaging, all of that, those messages are very personalized and resonate with your target audience, but also tie back in to your automation system in the back. Now, this is where it becomes very interesting in terms of creating workflow and sequencing. And this is what I will be showing you in a moment on how some basic workflow can save you the amount of time and energy and your team headache so that you don't have to babysit the system. And obviously, what you measure get improved. So you cannot rely on set and forget mentality perspective when it comes to automation. You must ensure that you create system that is sustainable and that also being monitored, optimized, and making sure it flows very well for what the result that you want to get. Here's what a flow would looks like. Again, this is very complex flow, so you don't have to follow a flow like this. I'm a visual learner type of person. I would be sitting by myself and sometimes I would be drawing. It's part of it. I'm creating the flow of thinking what I want those to accomplish. And again, a lot of the system nowadays, you don't really have to sit down and do this. It helps a lot, I think, if you can sit down with yourself or your team, start thinking of, okay, here are 5 things or 7 things we want. Here's what happened when this happened. Here's what happened when that happened. When the customer come in, or when the customer come to our booth at the boat show, what do we want happen? Do you want to send them a text message right away? Joe, the broker, add that person to CRM. Or CRM send an email to the potential customer, say, hey, thank you for stopping by. Glad to see you. And I'll be in touch with you when I get back to the office on Monday. An email automatically get to Joe. Hey, Joe, that customer just get added and that message was sent to that customer. 2 days later, making sure Joe get another email that say, hey Joe, don't forget that customer is on the CRM to follow up with. And maybe Joe even forget. There is an automation that's already created to follow up with that person again on behalf of Joe. Again, it's all depending on your business model, how you process this, but you can see all the possibilities you have on hands when you have a system like this that's eventually get you more bookings, more sales, more repeat buyers, and get people to become loyal customers. Again, this is a flow for one of our system internally, but you can apply this for almost anything you want.